This is Top 30. In today's special edition of Top 30, we celebrate heroes whose acts of selflessness show us the true value of community. Like when this fall, there was a school shooting in Illinois that you may not have heard about. The reason you didn't was because of a brave teacher named Angela McQueen. When a 16-year-old gunman entered the cafeteria of Mattoon High School and started firing a shotgun at his fellow students, McQueen took immediate action and physically subdued the shooter. One student said that the gunman was ready to fire again when McQueen tackled him, making him fire the gunshots into the ceiling.
You're not going to do this to my kids. You're not going to do this at my school.
2 students were injured but survived. Police Chief Branson said of Miss McQueen, if it hadn't been for her, the situation would have been a lot different. Her mother, Barbara McQueen, told the Chicago Tribune, Satan makes a mess and God cleans it up. Angela was there to clean up Satan's mess. We couldn't be any more proud of her.
76 years after saving the lives of 6 men, a Pearl Harbor hero was finally honored. On December 7th, 1941, during the attack on Pearl Harbor, Joe George was on the Vestal, a maintenance ship attached to the USS Arizona battleship. George saw some men trapped in a burning tower still aboard the sinking battleship. George threw them a lifeline. It's believed George disregarded orders to cast off and cut the lifeline, staying with all the men until all 6 safely made it to the Vestal. In 1996, Joe George passed away, never having gotten any recognition for his bravery. It was then that one of the men George saved made it his mission to get George the medal he deserved. Finally, after 21 years of pleading with the Navy, last month Joe George posthumously received the Bronze Star Medal for valor. George's daughter, Joanne Taylor, said, whatever medal it is, doesn't matter. It was a story that needed to be told. It was a huge part of history for those men who were true heroes, and it was my dad who helped them. Joe George, a hero who will never be forgotten. When a Las Vegas home became engulfed in flames, trapping 2 small children inside, a nearby homeless man came to the rescue. According to the Good News Network, the 3-year-old girl and 10-month-old boy were screaming for help as their house burned around them. But Ba Angulo heard them and sprung into action. To get to the children, Ba jumped a fence, tore down the door, and pulled the kids to safety. Ba focused on saving the children, saying, I wrapped up the babies and pulled them out. I knew I had to get them out. The fire started in the kitchen when the children's grandfather forgot he left the stove on. By the time he noticed the fire, it was so big he couldn't reach the children. Thankfully, neighbors managed to rescue the grandfather, and firefighters arrived soon after.
Every year in Asia, millions of dogs are stolen from their homes, tortured and slaughtered for their meat. It is known as the dog meat trade, and it is heartbreaking. Thousands of miles from there, in Arizona, one young woman is doing her part to help. 26-year-old Jerry Hormel is the founder of the non-profit animal rescue Almost There Foster Care, a group she started when she was just 22 that specializes in helping to find homes for homeless, large breed pregnant dogs. Hormel has recently partnered with a foundation in Thailand to bring dogs all the way to Arizona, rehabilitate them, and find them forever homes. On top of saving Arizona's dogs, she has now saved 7 dogs from Thailand. Hormel told Fox 10 Phoenix, I love finding these guys a happy ending. And you don't need to live in Arizona to help her. If you want, just go to her website, atfcaz.org, and help Jerry save more dogs from the horrifying dog meat trade.
For families who have lost a loved one in the military, the holidays can be a difficult time. But one organization works to make sure Gold Star families get to feel some holiday cheer. Snowball Express honors our fallen military service members by celebrating the families they left behind. Each December, the organization brings together military families across the country for an all-expense-paid 5-day experience filled with fun, healing activities. Fox 4 Dallas reports more than 1,600 family members of fallen heroes heroes arrived in North Texas for the 12th annual Snowball Express. Carissa Paulson, who lost her father, Sergeant Lawrence Paulson, explained the sense of community is what makes Snowball Express so special to her.
It's like the only place where we actually fit in because everybody understands what we're going through.
And volunteers like Rick Colster said it was the least they could do to honor our military heroes.
Being able to do this just makes it all worthwhile.
Organizations like Snowball Express put a spotlight on the heroes walking amongst us, our Gold Star families.
In today's special edition of Top 30, we celebrate heroes whose acts of selflessness show us the true value of community, like Clayton Cook, who became a husband and a hero on his wedding day. While taking wedding photos at a park in Kitchener, Ontario, with his new bride Brittany, Clayton saw a group of kids playing by a nearby river when he noticed one of them in the water struggling to stay afloat. Clayton jumped in the water in his suit without hesitation and helped the young boy out. The couple's photographer, Darren Hatt, caught the whole thing on camera. Of course, Clayton doesn't think of himself as a hero, but his wife Brittany said, "Now it's hitting us more that if we weren't in the right place at the right time, things may have gone differently and perhaps even tragically. The boy was fine, and now Clayton is a hero whether he believes it or not."
A contest for America's top young scientist has a winner, and she's just 11. 7th grader Katherine Rao won this year's Discovery Education and 3M Young Scientist Challenge. She invented a sensor that can detect lead in water better than other methods. Rao wanted to take action after learning about the ongoing water crisis in Flint, Michigan. She said, "I was appalled by the number of people affected by lead contamination in water, and I wanted to do something to change this." Rao worked on the prototype in the science room she asked her parents to set up in their Colorado home. It's called Tethys, after the Greek goddess of water. She won a grand prize of $25,000. Some of that will be set aside for college. Rao says when she grows up, she wants to be either a geneticist or epidemiologist. She also has a piece of advice: never be afraid to try.
A thankful teenager got to meet the first responders who saved his life. Eric Mendez had a 1 in 1,000 chance of surviving after a family member accidentally shot him in the chest last year when he was just 12 years old.
Came through my arm right here, then came out, then came through my chest right here on the side, then came out, then came in through my other arm.
Fire crews arrived at the scene just minutes later and said Eric wasn't breathing and had no pulse. He was immediately rushed to Phoenix Children's Hospital, where trauma surgeons opened his chest and were able to repair the hole in his heart. Eric and his grandmother are forever thankful.
We needed a hero, so that's who you became. Thank you for saving us from the storm.
And he says meeting the people who saved his life was one of his biggest wishes come true. A man who helped get a kidnapped girl to safety ended up donating the reward money to the teen victim.
The good Lord put me in a spot that day, sent me home, made me look at the spot in my field and figure out what's going on.
Earl Melchert was at his Minnesota home on that day and at that time only because he'd forgotten something he needed for work. He happened to notice a young girl in his backyard who was tired and wet and recognized her from news reports and flyers around town. The 15-year-old girl was Jasmine Block, who just escaped after 29 days in captivity by running through a field and swimming across a lake. 3 men are facing charges. Police say they assaulted her and locked her in a closet while holding her in captivity. At a news conference, the 65-year-old Melchert said the teen victim deserved the $7,000 in reward money and gave it to the family. The victim's mum was brought to tears by the gesture. She thanked him and said the story could have had a very different ending if he wasn't there to help her daughter.
In today's special edition of Top 30, we celebrate heroes whose acts of selflessness show us the true value of community. Like when a quick-thinking 7-year-old boy's ability to remember what to do when someone is choking saved the life of his little sister. When Luca Martinez was 5 years old, his parents, Mary Ellen Wechter and Juan Carlos Martinez, trained their nanny how to perform the Heimlich maneuver. And luckily, Luca paid attention. While playing with his 4-year-old sister, Luca realized she was choking choking on 2 marbles. He knew there wouldn't be time to get his parents and save his sister. So Luca took matters into his own hands. The second grader explains, "I knew she was choking, so I got behind her and then I pulled. The first time I pulled, it didn't work. In the second time, both of the marbles came out." Thanks to Luca's quick thinking, the Martinez family will have something to be even more thankful for this holiday season. To kids, firefighters are like superheroes and pretty awesome babysitters. The Roseville Fire Department in California responded to a medical call on Sunday in which they had to take a minor to the hospital. The child's father went along, but his young daughter had to stay behind. Fire engineer Mike Burns and the Engine 5 crew stayed with the little girl and read her books until her mom could get home. The fire department exclusively tells Top 30 that the family was so grateful for them and everybody is okay. They went on to tell us, quote, "The side of our engines say our family protecting yours, and we really treat everyone we come in contact with like a member of our family. We strive to achieve a sense of community." People in town are calling them heroes, and we'd have to agree. In today's Hometown Stories, we look back at some local heroes who are making big impacts in their communities. Like this father who lost his son to a drug overdose. Now he has a new life mission, helping children. According to Fox 13 Tampa Bay, Robert Harrison owns the barbecue food truck Extreme Cuisine. It's named after his late son, Tampa area rapper B Extreme. Now Harrison uses his love of cooking to raise money for charities that help kids stay on the right path.
Just trying to get a message to the kids that no matter how talented you are, all you have to do is make one mistake one day and you can lose everything.
In our second story from Fox 9 Minneapolis, Andrea Jenkins made history as the first African-American transgender woman to be elected to a major city council. In November, she won her race for the Ward 8 seat on the Minneapolis City Council. Andrea said she didn't run because she was transgender. She ran because she wanted to work on the local issues she cares about. In our final story from Fox 29 Philadelphia, a family lost everything when a fire decimated their home. While they were able to get a new apartment, they had no extra money for furniture. But thanks to some local businesses rallying together, they got the surprise of a lifetime. Thank you so much. They were given bedroom sets for each bedroom, a new kitchen set, clothing, and a gift certificate for groceries. How this community stepped up to help a family in need is truly inspiring.
When 9-year-old Lauren Jade Smith's house burned down in the Santa Rosa fires, his family lost everything. But the only thing on his mind was the loss of his baseball memorabilia. So he penned a letter about everything he lost and sent it to his favorite team, the Oakland A's, and it went viral thanks to social media. Oakland Athletics president Dave Cavall tweeted, "This is so touching, so sad to hear about their loss. We would be happy to completely outfit the family in new athletics gear. Contact me." And this had a ripple effect, with other MLB teams tweeting photos of packages they were sending, including the Tampa Bay Rays, the Boston Red Sox, and the San Diego Padres. If you want to donate to Lauren, you can do so in care of the Oakland A's.
An officer's quick reaction in a restaurant saved the life of a man who was choking. While watching football with his son at Buffalo Wild Wings in New Jersey, off-duty state trooper Dennis Palea noticed a man sitting at the table behind him appeared to be choking. He immediately jumped from his seat, rushing over to perform the Heimlich maneuver. The unidentified victim made a full recovery thanks to Trooper Palea. The New Jersey State Police Department released video footage of the incident on their Facebook page, calling Palea a hero and a prime example of why officers should always expect the unexpected and to always be prepared to act. Heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they're wearing a football jersey.
In today's special edition of Top 30, we celebrate heroes whose acts of selflessness show us the true value of community, like the former Dallas Cowboy who invited at-risk kids to his ranch to experience country life for a day. Jay Novacek organized buses to bring boys from the city to the ranch, where they were greeted with hugs from his family and people who worked there. The kids got a chance to learn how to rope and see some of the animals at the ranch. Novacek also invited police officers to interact with the children, and they even let them sit in patrol cars.
I got to be in a cop car, not comfortable, but I had fun in it. for some reason.
This is the third year Novacek hosted the event. About 50 boys attended, and he says he hopes to host even more next year.
Ben Ryan's son Saul was born with a blood clot in his left arm, causing his parents to make the heartbreaking decision to amputate the newborn's arm. They were told by the United Kingdom's National Health Service Saul wouldn't be issued a prosthetic arm for a year. And for children under 3, standard prosthetics are often rigid with 0 hand movement. Because of this, Ben felt he had to step up and help his son. The former psychology teacher, with no background in engineering, immersed himself in the world of prosthetics. Using an Xbox scanner, Ben worked to find a system that makes a grippable arm in under a week. And not only that, he accomplished this for less than $250. Recently, he began trials with his new company, Ambionics, to see if his innovation can help other families avoid not only the wait, but the expense associated with prosthetics. It just goes to show there's nothing a parent won't do for their kid. Valerie Baker. To you, it's probably just any other name, but to a little boy in Wake Forest, North Carolina, Valerie Baker is a name he'll never forget. 7-year-old Jackson McElroy has a rare neurological disorder that makes it hard for him to walk. So every Halloween, his parents turn his wheelchair into something super cool. Like this year, Jackson is going as Chase from Paw Patrol, and his chair will be turned into a police car. Jackson and his mom, Amy, went to Home Depot to get supplies, and an employee, one Valerie Baker, stayed with them the whole time to make sure they were able to find everything they needed. Well, once they got to the register, they were shocked when Valerie opened up her own wallet and paid for their entire cart, nearly $100 worth of supplies. In that moment, the focus wasn't on Jackson's wheelchair. It wasn't on medical needs. It wasn't on the battle it's been to make Jackson feel included. The focus on this day was on a stranger who gave this incredible little boy a reason to smile. Valerie said, "I'm not a hero. I'm not an angel. If it's anyone who deserves wings and a halo out of this story, it's Jackson. He definitely had an effect on who I am and the type of person I want to be going forward." Jackson inspired Valerie, and then Valerie inspired us, so I guess it's our turn now to pay it forward.
A lucky boy got a birthday surprise from 2 NFL players who happened to be shopping in the same store. The 10-year-old caught the attention of 2 Washington Redskins players, Keith Marshall and Rob Kelly. The boy's grandma told the Washington Post that she was in the shop next door when her grandson came in and told her 2 men wanted to buy him an Xbox One. She said she didn't believe him at first, but walked over to the store and saw Marshall and Kelly. They'd overheard the 10-year-old talking about saving up for an Xbox One, so they ended up buying him the console and even threw in a game. The next morning, the boy's grandma said he woke up and thought the entire thing was a dream, and she had to convince him that it had really happened.
A pair of thieves target a 91-year-old woman at a Florida grocery store and steal her wallet. Their cowardly act was caught on camera, showing one guy distracting the woman in the produce section and then another coming from behind, quickly reaching inside her purse. Officers Janelle Jumelis and Evan Estevez arrived on the scene to find the woman had been robbed of all of her food stamps and could no longer pay for her groceries. Officer Jumelis' body cam was rolling as she offered to pay for all the stuff in the woman's cart, capturing her pure gratitude as she responded with tears and a hug. That could have been Officer Jumelis' good deed for the day, for the week even, but she was compelled to do even more. She helped the woman cancel all of her stolen credit cards, then later showed up at her house to surprise her with a gift card for $60 to cover her next grocery trip. So maybe those crooks got away with a couple bucks, but at the end of the day, the groceries were paid for, new cards are in the mail, and a 91-year-old woman has a new story to tell about the kindness of a police officer and how it made her day. Even though Angel and Erin Fiorini had been together for 15 years and had 3 kids, it wasn't until a house fire nearly killed Angel that they decided to marry. According to People magazine, Angel says she woke up in the middle of the night and her house was covered in smoke. She raced into action, rescuing her 2 youngest children. But by the time she returned to rescue her eldest, 8-year-old Gianna, the house was engulfed in flames. Angel was able to save all 3 of her kids, but ended up with burns on more than half her body. Even though they never had plans to marry, Erin proposed 3 months after the fire, and the happy couple married over the summer. Angel told The Sun, "It was such an emotional day. Just being able to stand there in front of our family was truly a miracle." Despite all the stuff that was lost in that fire, even more was gained. If you want to donate to the Fiorini family, you can do so at their GoFundMe page. Thanks for watching. You can catch up on past episodes of Top 30 now on Hulu. You can also download the Top 30 mobile app and visit our website. We want to hear from you, so connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Like, follow, and subscribe to @Top30TV for interviews and exclusive web content. We'll see you next time on Top 30.